Joseph Stalin, head of the Soviet Union, refused to believe in the suicide of the German Führer Adolf Hitler until the end of his days, despite all the evidence provided. He believed that the Nazi leader had managed to escape at the last moment to Spain or Argentina. The Soviet leader repeatedly stated that the Red Army had not found evidence of Hitler in Berlin either, according to documents that were published back in May 2013, but have only now attracted media attention. Hitler survived World War II and escaped to Latin America. Relevant information was given a second life with the declassification of documents about the murder of John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States. According to the CIA, a U.S. intelligence agent reported in 1955 that former SS man Philip Zietron had supposedly met after World War II with Hitler, who was hiding out in South America under the name of Schittel Meyer. Now the FBI has recently declassified documents relating to the search for Hitler in South America, especially in Argentina. The declassified document contains 203 pages, and it is noticeable that much of the text in the scans of the papers posted on the agency's website is illegible. The dossier opens with a report from the Los Angeles office of the FBI on September 21, 1945. The department chief informs us that a man named Robert Leon approached a reporter for the Los Angeles Examiner du Uzu newspaper. He told him that he had met an Argentine named Gaidana. This new familiarity told Leon that he was one of 4 people who met Hitler and his companions about 2.5 weeks after the fall of Berlin on the Atlantic coast of Argentina, specifically in San Marcos Bay on the Voltaire Peninsula. According to Gaydon, a submarine arrived to the peninsula at about 11:00 p.m. that day. Having received a signal from the shore, a group of men landed from it. 2 hours later, a second submarine came up, on which Hitler, his doctor, 2 women, and a number of men arrived. The total number of those who arrived was about 50 of them. Riding horses were prepared for them. At dawn, the group moved toward the South Andes foothills and at dusk arrived at the ranch where Hitler was still in hiding. Gaidon received $15,000 for his work, but considered it a godsend to escape to the United States. According to Hayden, Hitler did not feel well. He suffered from asthma and ulcers. The mustache on his face was shaved off. Many will probably wonder, why Argentina? During those years, Juan Perón, a fascist sympathizer, was in power in Argentina. This man came to Argentina with the direct support of the Nazis. As a result of the war in 1943, after the defeat of the RIA, one person formed a safe haven in his country for the Nazi criminal and his capitals. During his years in power, a flood of thousands of Nazis poured into Argentina. We must pay tribute to Wilhelm Canaris, head of military intelligence and counterintelligence of the RIA, who in his time extended Berlin's influence not only in Argentina, but also in Chile and Brazil. It was to Buenos Aires, in the form of investments and bank transfers, that interest drifted away from those working in Germany in government-owned companies. This also speaks to the sagacity of the Nazi leaders, who, even before the crash of the RIA, began their economic expansion in South America. Berlin signed a number of agreements with Buenos Aires on the supply of wheat and meat, the possibility of military ships of the RIA entering Argentine ports even in wartime, and an increased flow of German colonists. The archives have preserved damp directives sent by the Argentine resident, which constantly mention the need to be more active in the economy, to expand the network of agents, and to prepare bases in case the RIA was defeated. The Germans spared neither effort nor money in their espionage work in Argentina. There were agents operating in Latin America whose names have not been revealed to this day. In fact, Admiral Canaris was murdered in April 1945 by direct order of Hitler, thereby hiding the ends in water. He was the only man after Bormann who could put together all the pieces of the puzzle and reveal the plan of Hitler's escape and the preparation of his hideout in Argentina. During World War II, with the full tolerance of the government, Argentina became a financial colony of the RIA. The Germans completely controlled the country's heavy industry and a number of agricultural processing industries. According to researchers, from 1940 to 1945, the Nazis organized up to 100 shell companies in Argentina alone, through which they took part of the Reich's gold reserves and large amounts of money out of Europe. The success of the operation secured the loyalty of the Argentine government and other Latin American countries. Of course, all this they did not do for free. By 1945, Argentina's gold holdings had grown from 346 tons to 1,170, and Brazil's from 50 to 364 tons. In this way, Hitler paid for his silence and his quiet life. British journalist Jared Williams and historian Simon Dunstone, authors of the bestseller The Grey Wolf, Adolf Hitler's Escape, reconstruct the route by which the Führer got to Argentina almost in detail. At the very end of April, through a secret bunker passage, Hitler, his wife Eva Braun, his favorite sheepdog Blondie, and several others went to one of the branches of the inactive Berlin subway. Their place as bunker figures was taken by prepared Bormann lookalikes, who were murdered and later introduced as the corpses of Hitler and Eva Braun. Through the subway tunnels, the group, led by Hitler, reached the only runway left under the control of the guards. There was a plane waiting for them, which managed to take off during the night and take its passengers to the Spanish Air Force base near Barcelona. From Catalonia, the Spanish Air Force plane reached the Canary Islands, where on the island of Fuerteventura it stopped to catch its breath. Naval Vinta, previously built by the Nazis, especially for this occasion. Moreover, from there, by submarine, Hitler reached Argentina with his wife and his beloved sheepdog. In 1945, the Germans completely controlled all the access to the Argentine city of San Carlos de Bariloche. No one could enter this area without official permission from the local Nazi leaders. In February 1946, after he was officially elected president of Argentina, Juan Domingo Perón finally received unlimited power in the country, which should have dispelled any hidden fears of persecution among the fleeing Nazis. In the late 1940s, Hitler even moved freely around Argentina within a triangle, the tops of which were 3 strategic points: San Carlos de Bariloche, La Falda, home of his friends and first sponsors and Hornets, and Lake Marchichita. In each of these areas, Hitler owned expansive lands. In this place of Argentina, northern Patagonia, the Germans lived closely together. It was a kind of Bavaria, a little Germany with a climate and views very similar to the Alps. That is where Hitler lived, at first on a ranch and then in the villa in Inalco, built especially for him, which was impossible to approach unnoticed. It was the new Uber Salzburg at the edge of the world. The Inalco estate was a mansion with 10 bedrooms. It was located near the Chile border. Germans sympathetic to the Nazis lived around it. There were no roads in this forested area. It could only be reached by water or air. The building faced Lake Noel by API. In its most isolated part, Hitler had a seaplane, the Grimmieuse, at his disposal. In the nearby town of San Carlos de Bariloche, there was a smashing crowd and hundreds of hardcore Nazis who had found refuge there after the war. There was a grocery store owned by Erich Gribke, Hauptschirm for SS, who had left a significant legacy in Italy. Across the road from his store was the Ondine Bariloche Club, which the famous pilot Hanselrich Rudel, the most decorated ace of the Luftwaffe and Hitler's closest friends, joined in the late 1940s. For many years, the famous sadist Hauptschirm for SS, Dr. Joseph Mengele, the angel of death known for his horrible medical experiments at Auschwitz, lived in San Carlos de Bariloche. The well-known Obersturmbannführer for SS Adolf Eichmann, Hauptsturm for SS Edward Roschmann, nicknamed the Butcher of Riga, and finally Martin Bormann lived there or visited this wonderful place. The Nazis thrived in Argentina until 1955, while President Perón was in power. According to some reports, Hitler died on February 13, 1962. In northern Patagonia. Since in the following years his traces in Argentina are lost, other sources say that he died in his old age as a complete wreck about 10 years later, probably in Paraguay, where Alfred Ostressna, a dictator of German origin, was in power from 1954 to 1989. In the introduction to their book, the bibliography of which is stunning, its authors Gerard Williamson and Simon Donson recognized: "We are now sure of the terrible fact at the end of World War II, Adolf Hitler, the greatest villain in history, escaped Germany and spent the rest of his life in Argentina. His right-hand man, Leiter Martin Bormann and Heinrich Müller also escaped punishment and joined their Führer in Argentina. Equally outrageously, America and Great Britain helped the escape of hundreds of other former Nazis, such as Vernon von Braun, the rocket scientist, and Klaus Barbie, the sadistic SS operative known as the Butcher of Lion. In the post-war years, they both worked for the US government services, while the others were simply allowed to escape trial and settle in various remote corners of the world. Did the Soviet Union know about this? Of course they did, but the nuclear, space, and other military technologies received from the Germans, hundreds of valuable experts guided by twice laureate of the Stalin Prize, Standartenführer SS, Baron Manfred von Orden, forced them to keep quiet. In any case, the Soviet leadership was well aware that the fragments of Hitler's body in Moscow, despite official assertions to the contrary, had nothing to do with him. Someday, 100 years from now, when no one cares, the intelligence services of the world's leading countries will open their archives concerning Hitler, and how many interesting things will be there. The only thing is that no one will know how to value it, except a few historians, if their profession is still in existence by that time. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. See you soon.